Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Flying Over 50 at Any Age. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by my lovely co host, Makeda Smith. You guys know her as a celebrity publicist and the best selling author of the book by the same name. We welcome you guys tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We're going to go ahead and bring them in. Then we're going to connect with our friends over on Amazon for today's show. We have another good one. Makeda says I say this every week, but you know what? They're good every week. So that's why I'm going to keep saying it because we have another great one for you guys. And we are now live on Amazon Live with Flying Over 50 at Any Age with Makeda Smith and myself. Of course, this series is based on her book, Flying Over 50 at Any Age. I'm going to highlight for you guys over on the carousel. The subtitle of the book is A 30-Day Self-Journal for Speeding Past Limitations. Now, what Makeda and I started 17 weeks ago now is going week by week into this book, sharing her reflections, but also the lessons for all of us. Makeda, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there today. How are you, Cyrus?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing for both
That's
of us,
good.
Makeda.
That's good.
Yeah. So, Makeda, it is another great one today. But before we get into it, because I think it's
Hmm.
the past two, I think it's interesting. We're now getting a better glimpse of some of the challenges underneath the success. And I
Okay.
want to start here because I think a lot of times people, I know when I first met you,
Uh-huh.
only thing I saw were the wins. Only thing I saw was the highs of Makeda Smith and what you were doing as a publicist. And then when you
Mhm.
started, with Flying Over 50, I saw that. What has it been like for you through this book to start talking more about these challenges that you've been able to overcome?
I was going to say it's been challenging.
It's okay to say that too.
It's been challenging and introspective, but it's been a good thing. It's been a blessing overall. It's been and it's been affirmative because
Yeah.
it's good to reflect on what you've been through because it grounds you toward
Mhm.
where you're going. So it's been all good, Cyrus. You did
Yeah.
good making me write the book.
W-
You
well,
got
Makita,
it in. I gotta get
okay.
it in every week.
Okay. So, Makita, but let me ask you this question, and
Mhm.
I may have the answer wrong. I don't remember in the decade that you and I knew each other, you ever talking about these things publicly. Was the book the first time
No,
you laid it all out there like this?
no, I didn't talk about this. No, I didn't talk about this stuff publicly. And that's why I said when I wrote the book, like it was challenging on some level. But again, I say this almost every week. I figured, it was just the reader and me sharing this experience. I didn't know I was going to be talking about it. But it's all good. But no, like in terms of I think a lot of us are like this when we go to work or when we're interacting with people, we put our best face forward. And a
Hmm.
lot of times when we're going through something, we don't readily share it with folks because we don't know how that's going to impact our business or our relationships. So in terms of like I think a lot of the stuff that I went through in the book doesn't, but I think we all go through stuff. So I'm not like, oh, I'm special or anything, but I think a lot of the stuff I went through and the book just touches on some of it, unless you were like part of my inner circle, like you didn't really know about it,
Yeah.
because you just got to put your face forward and you got to keep, moving forward and interacting with people and keep manifesting and keep working. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. Over on IG, hello to you. Hey, Mr. Angelo Ellerby is joining us over there
Hey,
on
Angelo.
Instagram. Also,
Mm.
hello to you. I think it's pronounced. Oh, just one victory. I like that name. Just one victory. Hello to you over there on IG
Hey.
as well. Our show last week got over 1,000 views on Instagram. Makita, Makita, I just thought about that when I was looking at the Instagram. I want to talk about that before we get into this message because you
Okay.
are introducing yourself to a new audience, one as an author, because this is the most you've done publicly as an author, in
That's
talking about
awesome.
the book.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you to find people who didn't know you in the publicist space, that didn't know you in the polling space? What's it been like for you to see them finding out about you as an author?
Cyrus, you be asking these questions. Um, I I don't know, Cyrus. It's like you just make me think about things. I'll say this. It's
Yeah.
interesting about Instagram. I can relate this to Instagram because I'm
Okay.
on Instagram more than I'm on, like, Instagram is my social media of choice, but Instagram, I'm on Instagram as a pole dancer,
Mhm.
as a pro aging movement pole dancer, senior citizen influencer, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So it's interesting because on Instagram, I went, one of my posts went viral. I think it went viral last week, but it's still going viral. It's going viral.
Okay.
And so I'm getting an influx of new followers, and a
Uh,
lot of them, I think they're finding out that I'm an author because I post, we do a lot of, you and I do a lot of cross marketing on Instagram,
right.
but a lot of them don't know I'm a publicist. And a
Mm.
lot of them don't know I'm a G. It's in the granny and the gangster. And it's crazy because they'll come on my page talking to me like crazy and
Mm.
so disrespectful. And
Oh
I have
wow.
to like really check people. I have to check them because it's like it's crazy how people can think they know you, but they don't know you.
Right.
So in terms of like trying to roundabout way answer your question, I think all of us have many faces, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of faces to all of us.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, it's all of it is just a really interesting journey.
Yeah.
It's just all an interesting journey.
Right. Well, I think another title that I now will give you, Makita, having read the book initially and going through the
Uh-huh.
series with you, another word I would use to describe you is a survivor.
Oh, that's a good word. That's a good word.
Is that a word that you can easily identify with?
Yeah, no, I can say that that really is a good word because sometimes, like, in terms of like revisiting parts of my past that have been revealed in the book,
Mhm.
I can definitely identify as a survivor because when I take myself out of myself and I just observe, I'm just like, woo, I don't even know how we're still here or how we got through that.
Mhm.
Or what's that saying when people say you don't look like what you've
What
been
you've been
through?
through?
I
Yeah.
know I don't look like what I've been through.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, that's a great segue into our message. Again, as I mentioned, it is week 17 for our series, day 17 in the book, Go Without and Go Within. Makita, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I think I'm gonna read it from the iPad.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let me get set up. Let me
Okay.
get
No
set
problem.
up. Okay. Day 17. Within you is everything you need, but sometimes you are forced to go without to realize that. My midlife crisis was a crisis in every sense of the word. We hear about men having a midlife crisis and buying Corvettes or leaving their wives for younger women. My crisis was a very personal internal battle to stay alive. Materialistic losses leave you with no thing, nothing. You are left with only you and God's grace. I've always been a spiritual person, but my quote, dark night of the soul, which lasted for several years, gutted me. A dark night of the soul is likened to a kind of initiation which takes you from one phase of life into another. It's a period of seemingly gloom and despair which tests you to see what you are really made of. For instance, the recent lockdown per the pandemic was a dark night of the soul for the planet. We emerged on the other side, shaken, but stronger, and yes, different. During my personal journey in my early 50s, I was forced to go even deeper within. The universe taunted me, saying to me, yes, we know you can pray and give thanks when things are going great, but if we break you all the way down, how deep does your faith extend? when I think back on those times, I recall waking up every morning and asking myself why. Why am I still here? Then I'd echo, often regrettably, Maya Angelou's famous words, and still I rise. I would also reflect on my ancestral legacy and come to my book is stuck.
Can you see it on the screen?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Can I see it on this? Okay, and come to where was I?
Um,
Oh, and still I rise. Sorry about that, y'all.
no
That
problem.
y'all. I will also reflect on my ancestral legacy and come to terms with the fact that no matter how low I thought my life had gotten, I stood on the shoulders of ancestors who have overcome far greater. Have you ever been deeply tested? Did going without something or someone make you go within to your inner spirit? Overcoming turbulence gives you your true wings.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you
Beautiful.
for that save, Tyrus. I mean, Cyrus.
No problem. Um, Tracy, who is recently experienced some loss, Makeda says, I can identify with you and
Mm,
your story in so many ways right now. Thank you for
thank
sharing.
you.
And it really goes to the power of us sharing our stories. So there's so much in this message. So much in this message. But I want to ask you, Makeda, what was
Mhm.
it like for you reading and then preparing for today? What were some of your thoughts?
Here we go with Cyrus with the deep questions. What was my thoughts? Well, you know what? Honestly, I knew that I'm at the point in the book where it kind of takes a turn because I'm going through a period of my life that was really dark. So I
Mm.
literally didn't read this chapter until about 10 minutes before I logged in with you because I didn't
Oh,
even
wow.
want to like resonate on it. I wanted to just,
Mm.
I just wanted to be like really fresh with it.
Yeah.
So because that period of my life, like I said, was very dark. But when I look back on it now, it's not so much about the darkness. It's about, oh my goodness, I got through it and I'm here now.
Mm.
So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
You are.
okay, but I really work on staying rooted in the now moment and giving thanks in the now moment and
Hmm.
having gratitude and thanks for the now moment projects me to the next now moment. So I really like there are some people you meet and they will consistently share with you about their troubles from the past, and when you stay there, that's where you are and
Hmm.
that's what you manifest. So in terms of like the overall reflection, it's good for me to reflect back on those circumstances, but me reflecting back is almost like it's a point for me to reflect back and bounce and give gratitude into the future, because when I was at that point, who knew that one day I would be at this point, and thank God, Goddess, I'm here right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How appropriate that you would quote those Maya Angelou words and still I rise, and looking at this picture for this one. I mean, talk to
Mhm.
us about this picture for you and why you thought this was an appropriate place for us to see it.
Well, first of all, when I was going through all, when I had lost everything and I was going through that dark night of the soul transition, I would be so mad at Maya Angelou because every morning, literally, I would wake up and I would hear her in my head going, and
Wow.
still I rise. And I'd be like, oh my God, leave me alone.
That is funny.
I don't want to rise.
Yeah.
It'd be like heifer and still we rise. Get up. And it
Oh my
really
goodness.
kept me grounded because I would have thoughts like, I feel like I'm going through hell right now, but I know what
Mm,
I'm going through is not as bad as what other people are going through, or
mhm.
some people I know have gone through, or
Mm,
what my ancestors have gone through. Like,
yeah,
I would be like, well, okay, I lost everything, my house, my car, my dog, my man, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm damn near penniless sleeping on my friend's couch, but
mm,
this ain't slavery, you know?
yeah,
I really have to like bring myself back to like it could be worse, you know.
right.
So you got to get up, you got to rise. And I love this picture because this was a video photography shoot I did, um maybe, I don't know if I was like 55 or 56 when I did this. I don't know. Think I had been pole dancing for maybe 5, 6, 7 years.
Mhm,
But I was called to go down. The the shoot was downtown. And when I got there, that room, like it had the white curtains and the whole studio was white, and it was just so beautiful, and it was such an unexpected set. Like everything was just white. It just felt like heaven.
mhm.
And shooting that shoot was such a victory for me because I had come so far. And in terms of like actually doing that video shoot, it was such a celebration of how being down in the slumps and to now being elevated on so many levels, even physically up in the air on a pole you
Mm,
know
right, right. Chris is joining us over on Facebook. Chris has such a profound message to put in
Mm,
words, letting readers know that even in your darkest days and weakest moments, that the only person strong enough to you is you. No one can do it for
yeah,
you. They can give you a tool, but you are going to have to swing the hammer. Thank you so much for
that's
that,
so true.
Chris.
Thank you for that. That's so
Um,
true.
so let's talk about that because what Chris says is exactly what you talk about, and you give us
Yeah.
an interesting point of reference in this chapter, Makeda, and that is the pandemic. You and I, if you don't mind me sharing this,
Sure.
Makita and I always have great conversations before this conversation, and we were talking about how it was so interesting for me preparing for this show with her today because she mentioned how the pandemic made us stronger, and I was saying to her that I found that to be true for myself, but I have met people who felt like they've been, they have not been, the best version of themselves
Mhm.
since. But I think this is an interesting thought, Makita, to go along with this message in this respect. It's all about perspective. How much of
Yeah.
what you kind of live today is about perspective and choice, as Chris says, to say that okay, you could focus on this over here, but instead you choose to focus on something more productive.
Um, Focus and perspective is really everything. And it's interesting about the pandemic because the pandemic was, of course, dramatic and stressful, and it was a lot. But even going through the pandemic, I felt for me personally that when the market crashed in 2008 and I had my, dark few years of the soul and lost everything and everything just I literally hit rock bottom.
Mhm.
I felt like that prepared me for the pandemic.
Mm,
I felt like it gave me the resilience to know what to do during the pandemic in terms of not panicking, going within, staying in deep prayer, and grounding. And I feel like I was able to do that because that's what I had to do when I had my period of the dark night of the soul that lasted like about 2008 through, I don't know, 2011, 2012.
mhm,
So I feel like that dark period prepared me for this dark period. And I felt like I had my tools and I was better armed to deal with this dark period because I had the other dark period. And I also had the thinking that if I hadn't had that other dark period, the pandemic probably would have took me out mentally, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like, that's why I say, like, you really, like, in terms of things that happen to us, I come back to this often. You can't really label it good or bad. It just is, because everything in life is really setting you up for something else. And you really don't know what that something else is. So you really can't say what's bad or good. Everything just is. And it's like, it almost goes into like the metaphysical terms of, you know, being in a Zen state, because if you just stay at equilibrium, nothing can really take you out.
Right. Love
Yeah.
that. Miss Queenie, hello to you over there on Facebook. Appreciate you the love all over there on YouTube as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, put those in the chat. That this broadcast will stay live. So that brings us then to the point for our audience then, Makeda, because
Mhm.
you asked the question, have you ever been deeply tested? Did going without something or someone make you go within to your inner spirit? Overcoming turbulence gives you your true wings. What do you want our audience to take away from this particular message of going without to go within?
It kind of goes back to what I think the gentleman Chris Irvin said as well. It's like, no one can really do it for you. So sometimes when you have to go without to learn how to go within, because we are our own greatest resource, you know, and that's really, I think that's the lesson that we're all here to learn. And it's really a difficult lesson, but it can be mastered. And so you have to realize that when you're going through turbulence, you can get yourself through that turbulence. And part of that is knowing that, believing that, trusting that, and staying true to that.
Love that. Such a great reminder. Again, everyone, flying over 50 at any age, today's message is a great one. Go without and go within, really showing not only the importance of perception, but perspective. But I love what you just said a moment ago, Makeda, which I think is perfect for this, that
Mhm.
everything is.
Yeah.
Everything is. It just is up to you how you're going to respond to it. And that's
Yeah.
something that's in our control. If you guys have not gotten your copy of Makeda's book, now is your opportunity. For you guys joining us on Amazon, you guys can get the print edition there for $9.99. Also, the Kindle edition is $5.99. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you'll find the link with this broadcast to get your copy there. Makeda, another great session. How can our audience stay connected with you?
At Flying Over 50 and at the Makeda Method. I'm all over the web. You can Google me.
There you go. She's very Googleable. So make sure you guys Google her. Makeda, great episode today.
Thank
Really
you,
do appreciate
Cyrus.
this. And we
Thank
thank you, our
you.
audience, for tuning in to another great
Thank you,
segment of Flying
everybody.
Over 50 at any age. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll see you next week.
Blessings, everybody.